Post-legislative scrutiny, or PLS, is the practice of monitoring the implementation and assess the impact of laws. Its ultimate objective is to ensure that laws benefit citizens in the way that was originally intended by lawmakers. And we know that this is particularly important in the case of marginalized communities, such as LGBTI+ people, because these communities were not consulted and or considered in the drafting of these policies in the very first place. So PLS offer an avenue for LGBT+ civil society to scrutinize and to make the laws more responsive and inclusive of their lived realities. For the last couple of years, Kaleidoscope Trust has been working with the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, or WFD, to adapt tools on PLS that are used by parliamentarians for the use of civil society organizations, to allow them to use them as one of more tools in their toolkit for legal reform.
My name is Jade McClune. I work for Tulinam in Namibia, which is a faith-based organization. I work with mostly church leaders and church communities and campaigning for the integration of LGBT persons and for an end to discrimination within the churches and the wider community. So we are part of the Diversity Alliance of Namibia, which is a broad network of movements fighting for equal rights, particularly for marginalized people and LGBT persons. We've been participating in a workshop around parliamentary law scrutiny, what they call post-legislative scrutiny, and it's been very fascinating. We think it's an interesting area for us to equip ourselves in and to use the tools that have been developed by Kaleidoscope Trust and the other organizations to help us to campaign, advocate for and achieve law reform, particularly to ensure there's equality for all persons in this country.
This workshop that we're attending in Namibia is part of the larger program that Kaleidoscope Trust is implementing along with the Diversity Alliance of Namibia, the DAN, and that focus on practical approaches to PLS and in particular zooms in the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act, with the overall objective of providing activists with a better understanding of the law and how they can scrutinize that to improve the lives of their communities.
I am Rachel Love Cavazes, the Executive Director of Equal Rights for All Movement, an organization that works with sex workers very much in support with LGBTI rights and equality. I find the workshop particularly helpful and informative. I was able to go through the process where we unpacked what the Domestic Violence Act really means, how it impacts negatively the lives of LGBTI people, but also having to identify gaps in terms of protection and exclusion. We as an organization opted to participate, but also as an individual in this process, to ensure that equity and equality is really enjoyed by every Namibian citizen, regardless of how they identify. You know, being recognized as human is very important, but also recognizing that everyone is equal before the law.